everyone, and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today, tensions are running high after two economic juggernauts put reciprocal tariffs on one another, and the people have had enough and are clamoring for war, with the Viper playing as the Burgundians in yellow, getting ready to declare war on Nicov, playing as the Persians in blue. Now all the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. Not a bad time for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. The Burgundians, one of the most oddball, craziest civilizations in the entire game. Militarily, they do focus primarily on cavalry, being the only civilization in the game to have access to cavaliers in the Castle Age. And their unique unit, the Custelier, is a medium cavalry shock unit that has a massive 20 or 25 charge attack. Now, to support their cavalry on the field of battle, their gunpowder units come with extra attack. Then they have access to a second unique unit, the Flemish Militiaman. This is a medium infantry unit that comes with a pretty decent attack bonus against cavalry. Watch out, Persians. Now, that's still not enough army for you. The Burgundians can conscript their entire civilian population by turning each and every villager into a Flemish militiaman and allowing even more Flemish militiamen to be trained out of their barracks. Now, to help pay for this massive war machine, their stable techs are 50% cheaper. Their relics generate food in addition to gold. All economic upgrades are available in Age earlier and are cheaper. And their farmers can be given copies of Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations so that they learn how to generate a small amount of gold while they work their fields. As I mentioned, the Burgundians, seriously, the most oddball civilization I would have ever imagined. One, very much food-centric. What do we have here? Speaking of food, a goose, a deer, and a boar walk into a bar. Unfortunately, all three get eaten. And that's the life of a animal in Age of Empires in the Dark Age. No one is really that safe. Now let's take a look at the Persians, another economic powerhouse, but one with a tech tree that is incredibly strong and diverse. In addition to getting access to every single economic upgrade available in the game, the Persians start every single game with 50 extra food, 50 extra wood. Their town centers work progressively faster right off the bat, 5, 10, 15, 20% faster at Imperial, and they can be a pain in the butt to raid because that very same town center I just mentioned, take a look at this, comes with double the amount of HP compared to your usual, let's say, non-Byzantine town centers, and their castles can be upgraded to take less bonus damage and fire more powerful bullets, which do come with an attack bonus against both rams and infantry. Now, using their economic advantages, the Persians, like the Burgundians, do primarily focus on their cavalry. Their Nightline units come with an extra attack bonus against archers, and using every single upgrade from both the stable and the blacksmith, they can field not one, but two unique cavalry units. The first, the chunkiest of the chunkers, the War Elephant, comes with a massive, powerful attack, a huge amount of hit points, and does massive damage because it has a good amount of trample damage, but is both super slow and super expensive. The Savar is the second unique unit, a heavy cavalry unit that replaces the Persian Paladin and comes with another additional attack bonus against archers. Now, to support their cavalry, the Persian archer and crossbowman can be upgraded to turn them into trash units that basically only cost 60 wood. Although, if you prefer to be a little bit more mobile with your archers, run around the map, get some villager snipes, etc., well, the Persians, they get Parthian tactics and Age earlier in the Castle Age, so you don't have to wait until Imperial to get that extra armor, keep your cav archers safe, and be able to better snipe spearman line units, because Parthian tactics does also add a little bit of a bonus against those. Two ships in the night, the Viper and Nicov passing one another. Ooh, okay, a little bit of a love dance here as Nicov realizes where the Viper is. Both of them whacking away at one another at the exact same time. Are we gonna have another one of those situations where the random number generator? No, okay, now they're now it looks like, well, actually it looks like their HPs are dropping at the exact same time. Nicov says, you know what, oh my god, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to feed these turtles with my dead scout, and so I will back away, and they both back away with 3 HP, which basically means even a villager should be able to take, oh my goodness, I'm trying to click on a villager, even a villager should be able to take out any of these scouts, whether or not it's the Vipers or whether or not it's our Persian in blue. Let's remove the fog of war, take a look at the map we're watching today. Relic in the center, Nicov first off of 18 villagers to hit the next age. Both 0 TC idle time. The Viper exactly 25 seconds behind, which tells me he has invested. Oh my goodness, my clicking skills are terrible. He has invested in Loom, whereas our blue Persian, okay, just got Loom as well. Beginning his wall off. Let's take a look at the Persian base as the Viper presses in with that a ridiculously weak scout. Ooh, primary gold annoyingly in the front. Primary stone annoyingly on a hill. Sorry, I sound like Larry David. Everything's annoying. We've got a secondary gold to the top, tertiary gold off to the right. Not really on the attack path. And where's your secondary stone? Very much exposed next to that lake we saw where the battle of the HP reduction occurred. And now let's see the Viper. Does he know where the TC is? Oh, he's got to be so careful. Just one little arrow from the TC. Well, there you go. One little arrow from the TC and bye-bye birdie. Well, no more aggression from the Viper for now. He is training a new scout. He already has a spearman out. In terms of forests, not exactly the most helpful for a wall-off. We'll see if Nicov decides to use his primary gold as part of any kind of wall-off. He has left his secondary gold outside of his settlement. Third gold is very much in, but pretty damn far away from the TC, so probably not going to send villagers that away anytime soon. Is this? Welcome to Age of Empires. Look at this. The buildings overlap, but there's probably a gap in between them. Who's kidding who? The Viper, for his part, primary gold, nice and secure to the front. Back, stone. Ooh, forming part of the wall off to the front. Both extra gold and extra stone. All three are in the forward position. Not exactly protected, not exactly safe. What a gross spawn for the additional resources. At least he's got the gold to the back. The berries kind of off to the back. Where were Nikov's berries? A little bit in the forward position, but he's already walled them in. In terms of attack path, a few forests here and there. A little bit of high ground for some player to take. Get a little bit of that advantage. The 25 extra attack, 25 extra defense. Random tigers strewn about, ready to kill whatever non-scout units happen to enter into their hungry territorial range. I don't exactly know what the range of a tiger is. What is the range that you need to enter into in order to get attacked? Good question to ask. As a caster, probably should know that. We'll look into that. I feel like I knew that before. How the hell did the Viper get into here? I knew it was open, and or maybe it wasn't open. No, it was open. He put a palisade there. Nicov had to destroy his own house instead of just a palisade to get in. And oh, that is very sour as the Viper guns down a villager already. Oh, never mind. It's the alley next to the barracks. I thought this was open. No. It's the alley next to the barracks. And this is where Age of Empires, the MC Escher of RTS games, comes in. Very annoying. You have to really drag a palisade wall along here to make sure that your structures are really adjacent to one another. Otherwise, you know, who the hell would know to put a palisade wall right here where this blue line is? That is ridiculous. The Viper runs in, gets a villager kill, runs out. Luckily for him, was able to run out. Took a little bit of damage on his scouts, but they're back home. Nicov has one that's basically dead. That 3 HP scout we saw who took the fight next to the box turtles earlier. The Viper is now pressing forward, hoping to catch some reinforcing scouts with those 2 spearmen of his, who probably, to be fair, should be at home. Not too sure you should be out on the map. Probably better at home playing defense. But the Viper here, did he get that 3 HP scout? He did get that 3 HP scout. Loses 2 of his own. Nicov takes a kill advantage. Nicov also takes a villager advantage. 34 vills to 31. Viper is going up to wheelbarrow, so his 31 villagers will be a little bit more efficient, more effective, so the number's not exactly a one-to-one comparison. Speaking of not exactly, this is not exactly walled in, so that if the Viper wanted to, he could dive bomb into that base. Same for Nicov, who could run into that base anytime he wanted to. Looks like the Viper's finally starting to take some gold, thinking about maybe going up to the next stage as he walls off his right, walls off his left. But gotta be careful, 1 or 2 more trees, you've jacked your wood too hard, and your opponent can shove in through the rear. Blacksmith will go up as part of the forward wall off. Okay, well, he's trying to distract the Viper. The Viper's spearman is having none of it as he goes and starts attacking gold miners. Not too sure the Viper can engage into this. Maybe if he had 3 healthy scouts, he could. but not with 3 scouts, 2 of which are at half health. Okay, a spearman does change the dynamics. Nikov's tired of chasing, not exactly Lithuanian spearmen, not exactly Celtic spearmen, so they're not going to catch up to the Vipers, who continues to be annoying and continues to shove in. There we go. Like I said, because the base is open, your opponent can just waltz right in, and if you don't notice, or if you don't really care to notice, then you don't garrison your villagers, and now you've got a spearman who, to be fair, doesn't have a bad line of sight. Look at that line of sight. Is going to catch a lot of updated information, maybe not. There's not really much that he's going to see here that he hasn't already seen, unless he moves back and sees the stable. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to see the second stable, unless he gets sniped here. On the other side of the map, Nicov is getting chased away by 1 spearman. I mean, this is just, you're just begging your opponent to garrison their villagers inside their TC, and there we go. Sees the second stable after the first one. Both players heading up to the Castle Age. Nicov again with about a 20-second advantage. And there we go. That's what happens. Town Center, the MVP so far, has 2 kills. Although, again, I always find it annoying that the structure gets the kills and it doesn't allocate it to a villager, because the Town Center is not firing any arrows on anything, right? It's the villagers inside who are practicing their bows and arrows. It's the archers inside a castle who fire those arrows. So maybe the game should allocate the kills to individual units randomly. Although that is definitely not the biggest issue with Age of Empires. Quote unquote definitive edition. Nicov peels off, I'm assuming, the weaker scout, yep, as his 3 remaining Hail ones move forward. So the Viper has carved himself a nice little corner position. Nicov abandoning part of his corner in what looks like a... I don't even know what Nikov's base kind of looks like. It looks like something really dirty that I don't want to mention. Second TC to the rear of this dirty mentioning base, but he could have walled off maybe off to the left, and then he would be like the Viper with this big expansion to the back. Let's see, both players are in the Castle Age. We are going light cavalry for our Persian. We are going light cavalry for our Burgundian. The only difference is our Burgundian is paying half the price of the upgrade cost. All of their stable techs are 50% cheaper. Second TC for him as well. Ooh, near the forest. This is what happens when you create a wall-off that doesn't really include very many resources. You have to really struggle to find good locations for your TCs. Spearman lies dead. We've got a camel. Okay, you know what counters light cavalry? Freaking camels. Camels with husbandry. Nicov continuing to try to bust in through this stable. The Viper says enough's enough. I'm not going to wait for it to go down to 300 HP. I'm just going to repair it now. GTFO with a 3rd TC going up. As I mentioned, when you have no resources to the rear, and I should have said, and it's your base is covered in hills, not exactly a lot of good spots, and Nicov agrees. Very forward, outside of the box. Town center for him. We'll take possession of the wood, the gold as well. Viper does still have that 1 villager kill, but Nikov's up to 6 total kills. And he is keeping an eye on the Viper. I don't know that he necessarily knows the Viper is here, but he is doing a fantastic job keeping an eye on the Viper. Both of them have husbandry, which I'm really glad to see. Ooh, okay. Well, Nicov expands his kill lead with another light cav. But these are light cav, and these are not. These are cavaliers in the Castle Age. Welcome to the Burgundians. Because their stable techs are 50% cheaper, generally they're also the first... If you ever watch them in a 1v1 or even in a team game, they're generally the first to paladins. Not the greatest of paladins. They're missing bloodlines, of course. But aside from that, not a bad paladin at all. Especially since you consider the cost. Look at that. 650 food, 375 gold. It might as well be free for the Burgundians. 650, 375. I was going to click on the Persians to show you the cost of their paladin, but remember, they don't have paladins. They have Savars, which cost 1,600. Oh man, that is full price if I've ever seen it. Now the Viper, ooh, okay, might catch himself a scout here if the camels don't intercede. Let's see. Trying to micro now for the other. Might catch himself a monk rather, and look at that. With their plus 10 attack bonus against monks, light cavalry units are just so damn good. They move in, they snipe, and even the fast-moving camel, even the camel that comes with a bonus against light cavalry units, isn't fast enough. Is he gonna get another one? 1, Just one more tap. Oh, the sword was raised. The sword was raised. The gun was cocked and loaded. And unfortunately, he did not get off that second blow that he needed to kill, sacrificing maybe 1 or 2 cavaliers so that the rest could live. Now, this could be potentially a very fun Castle Age battle here, because you do have the 120 HP Cavalier to the 120 HP Camel Rider. One that attacks, well, not great, but the bonus against cavalry is 9. The other one does attack on a 13 right now. Could potentially attack on a 14 if you wanted to invest in iron casting, which, to be fair, pro players generally don't like to get iron casting this early on in the game. It's kind of like murder holes. They seem to be quite allergic to it. And now Nikov's turn to snipe. A monk gets a villager as well. I believe the first villager kill of his game today. And has shoved in a pair of light cavalry units, some scout line units. There's one cavalier heading south to take care of business. Is he going to be enough to kill these two if they do ever meet? He definitely has more HP, definitely has more armor, but he has gone the wrong way. At the same time, we'll keep an eye on this attack. At the same time, the Viper moves into the front of Nikov's base, distracts his security system with a few cavaliers, then shoves in a bunch of other ones. Gets 6 villager kills on the whole so far, with the 6th one lying there dead underneath the TC. Okay, 1 cavalier did die to the north. Monks haven't gotten a single freaking conversion yet for Nicov, as the Viper now gets the hell out of dodge. It looks like this cavalier was enough to kill those 2 scouts. And look at how little damage they actually did. Wow, only took down half of his HP. The problem is Nicov is starting to go... what's the word I'm looking for? Parabolic with his economy. He's finally catching up. Viper had handcart a while ago. He's getting handcart too. But remember, now this is the Persians in the Castle Age. They are pumping out villagers and technologies 15% faster than everyone else. And so instead of 25-second training time, whatever 85% of that is what they are taking to train their villagers. Another monk dies. Another monk dies. No conversion for the Viper. Has any player gotten a single conversion this game? Now, this is the definition of overkill, sending 10 cavaliers and 2 spearmen to deal with 1 light cavalry unit. That is the very definition of killing a fly with a, what's the expression? Killing a fly with a shotgun or something? I like that the Viper is just sending individual cavaliers or groups of cavaliers out onto the map, keeping an eye on things. They crash into the camels. So this is the fight I wanted to see. What will prevail? Will it be... I mean, we can do the math at the end of the game, if the game only goes until Castle Age, or if we're lucky enough into Imperial, but what will prevail? The higher attack of the Paladin, and by the way, the Cavalier, and by the way, the faster attack of the Cavalier, 1.8 seconds to the 2 of the Camel, or the 9 attack bonus of the Camel. I'm really curious to see. Maybe at the end of the game, we'll go back. I'll remind myself to go back to the 30-minute mark, and we'll see which unit actually wins in a 1v1 here. For now, another failed attempt to convert, so we're just on healing duty. The Viper has abandoned his monk play. No more relics, no more healing, no more conversions. I say no more relics. He doesn't have a single relic. It's our Persian who's gathered 3. Which is weird because there's literally 1 here. I remember the Viper did drop that relic. There's literally a relic in his base, but he does not want to spend the 100 gold on that monk. Looks like the Viper is also rear-ending, doing a bit of a reach around to the north of this position, trying to distract from a castle drop, but this is not a great distraction. Oh, finally, a converted cavalier. Looks like those units to the north, who I'm assuming are cavaliers. Yeah. We're trying to take down a town center, and now with the cavalry archers here, ooh, if Nicov had just stuck to melee units, this castle would still be going up, but because he's got ranged, the Viper has absolutely no choice. Those villagers aren't safe anymore. 52% completed castle is garbage, not worth anything right now. And what a sour situation to be in. If you cancel this castle, you get back literally, what, 320 stone, 310 stone, and Nikov's gonna make sure it gets canceled with his own castle. Camel assault, cav archer assault. To be fair, these cav archers probably should be chasing the villagers, but he doesn't know where the hell they are. He doesn't know what's going on, which direction they chose to fly to, which corner of the map. Tell me he's got Parthian tactics. No Parthian tactics just yet. So the spearman attack bonus is +2 instead of +4. The armor is non-existent. Castle's up. Oh, the Viper. Well, he's going to keep the castle up for a bit because it's got 2200 HP. And there's nothing left that's really attacking it except that one castle that just went up. And of course, I said he's going to keep it around for a while. He cancels it immediately. Oh, man. Oh, wrong call, left, right, and center. Where are those villagers? Okay, they are so traumatized. They have moved into the middle of the desert to create a commune of peace. We don't want to work. We don't want to gather resources. We don't want to build anything related to any kind of war machine. We just want to live in peace. Leave us the hell alone. Is this somehow still walled in? This is a massive Persian army. By the way, the Viper is going to be second yet again to the next stage. And he's going to be second with a tiny army that's consisting mostly of pikemen. Okay, he's got 37 villagers on gold. You wouldn't know it by his army composition. That being said, Nicov hasn't exactly busted into the base here. As he has seen the castle foundations, so he knows there's no real point. What there is a point to do is start pressing in, and he is pressing in on the left side while his cavalry archers get pressed back on the right side. Okay, well, the villagers are back out. The Viper is at 350 stone. Not too sure what the point of these villagers is. Did he run out of wood inside his base? Oh, he ran out of wood. There's no wood here anymore. The Persian army is just freaking massive. Nikov's already at 200 population. The Viper's trying to trap as many units as he possibly can. Let the cavaliers catch the knights as the camels absolutely crash into pikemen. But pikemen are not that great when they're being pumped full of arrows by cavalry archers. And now it's Nikov's turn to try to snipe villagers. He's up to 10 vill kills. To be fair, as long as he keeps sniping villagers, he will lose his army as these pikemen are just working their way through these heavy camel riders. Castle's up. Treb is out. Well, there you go. This, first of all, I didn't expect a GG. There's Parthian tactics, by the way, in Imperial. Didn't really have to wait for Imperial, but what a definition of a Pyrrhic victory. The Viper getting his castle up. Fantastic. If only there wasn't this Treb here. If only he wasn't starting to feel the press of the Persian with their heavy siege. And wow, the Viper just running around a little bit too much, maybe, with his individual packs of cavaliers. I originally liked it. I thought he was pulling Nicov to the left, pulling Nicov to the right. I loved when he shoved in 2 cavaliers here while he tried to get his castle up here, hoping to distract, but maybe you should have sent them in first. Maybe you should have sent more than 2. I don't know. Sometimes there are games where pro players just, I feel like, waste units, is if I can use that correctly. I mean, I don't know if really waste is the right word. They use them in a way that they think is going to be accomplishing something, but it doesn't really accomplish that goal. I feel like the Viper was just sending out individual units or clumps of these cavaliers here and there to try to pull Nikov's positional game out of whack so that he could himself press in and dictate the pace of the game. But Nicov wasn't having it. And again, what a fortuitous switch to cav archers, or what a fortuitous addition of cav archers to his army composition, being able to deny. Because again, without those cav archers, those villagers that were building could have built a few more houses here. You know, the Viper. I mean, if ever there was a player who can quick wall his vills in, it is the Viper. And then camels are not going to stand a chance. Maybe a monk or 2 will be annoying, but by the time they get 1 or 2 conversions, that castle will already be up. It was at 52%. But the cav archers really are what drew the retreat order to come in. And by the way, okay, well, they're on stone mining duty now. I guess the Viper realizing he needs stone for another castle, but they were doing literally nothing in the corner of the world there. And the camel, the counter army. To be fair, the Burgundians, a cavalry civilization against the Persians, who have, again, all the blacksmith, all the stable techs, except I'm looking at the wrong line. I was gonna say, except, my goodness, except for paladins, which they have replaced with savars, which, to be fair, are better against archers because they come with that, I think, +4 attack bonus. But doesn't really matter. Uphill for any cavalry against a civilization that has fully upgradable heavy camel riders. Never a pleasant feeling. And when you try to put pikemen in their face, that's why these guys are here with their soon-to-be +4 attack bonus against spearman line units. And wow, Nicov just repel. I feel like the repelling of the castle was a major shifting point. Until then, they were both kind of just dancing around one another. The game was basically a larger version of what happened here in the, what was it, the 9-minute mark of the game? A little bit of tickling away at one another. They were kind of, play fighting against one another, slapping each other around a little bit. But then the castle was dropped. Nicov denied it, and ever since then, he's just been trying to bust his way in through the flank. And then he says, you know what? I see your castle. Let me tear it down as I breathe down your neck over here. You are not getting this gold. And unfortunately for the Viper, we did see that his resource patches were outside of the DC, the stone, the gold. And now with, he's done. No more internal stone. So things are not looking great here for the Viper, despite the fact that he still has 125 villagers. We saw him run out of wood inside his base earlier. Now he's run out of gold inside his base. Now his castle's about to fall. And where do you go to jack wood? Over here, you can't, because the second you do, you're exposed. And where's the closest? I mean, this is such a small patch of wood. 5,000 wood to evict all of your villagers. Now, this could have been useful. You could have created a community out here in the middle of nowhere. But to be fair, not a lot of big patches of woods on this side, or to be fair, on any side of the map here. Nicov also running out of wood, but choosing to go after his flank forest. Wow, what a what a wonky game as always with the Burgundians and their Castle Age Cavaliers. I do want to go back to the 31-minute mark and see who would win, a Castle Age Cavalier or a camel from the Persians. But first, let's see. I mean, come on, pikeman is not going to win you against the Persians. Cavaliers might win you against the Persian. There was also a bit of a light cavalry war here that developed. But at the end of the day, the camel riders supported by the cav archers are enough to take care of the army composition of the Viper. And I think he realizes that. So not only is his army comp behind, not only is he out of gold, not only does he barely have any wood, actually he has no wood. He's got 35 pieces of wood. Oh, goodness. Now he does have enough to upgrade to Paladin if he wanted to. That's pretty cool. Remember, that tech is super cheap for them. The Viper is just now completely behind in almost every metric, including the score of the game. So it's kind of unfortunate for him that he just fell behind after that castle attempt, more and more and more behind, and the Persian just gained more and more and more steam, and it was basically pedal to the metal for Nicov. PKPM towards the end of the game, PKPM also towards the end of the game, or I guess middle of the game? What do we want to call that? Yeah, around middle of the game. And here we go. I want to see the conversion count. Without the relics, interesting. The economies weren't too dissimilar. I mentioned how these are two economic powerhouses. Food, a little bit more for our Burgundian. Stone, a little bit more for our Burgundian. But look at all the gold. And the wood, not exactly that much more. But look at the gold. 4,000 more gold. And that's where you get your camels, your cavalry archers, all your upgrades. How many conversions? I feel like there were like 2 conversions in this game. Okay. Wow. All right. 3. Yeah, it felt like there were a lot of monks, but there weren't a lot of monk action happening here. 2 raising, 0. So it wasn't a game of massive collisions. Nicov killed 100 to 54, 12 villagers to 11. It was more of a game of just, the Viper again falling step by step. Unfortunately, no more gold, no more wood, just starting to get stone. But what the hell are you going to do with stone? You're going to start pumping out Cousteliers? I guess you could pump out Cousteliers. You do have some of the upgrades that are necessary for them. They are only 55 gold. But once your farm, the next farm that gets, this one has 11 food, he can't afford to reseed it. He's got 35 wood. Does he even have lumberjacks? Does the Viper even have lumberjacks? He's got 1 lumberjack. I don't know why Capture Age, when the game ends, the loser, the numbers just all go to 0, but the Viper has 1 lumberjack. He's got to be here, right? All right, well, unfortunately for the Viper, with that 1 lumberjack, things just didn't work out the way he wanted to this game. And here I promised myself I want to take a look at what would happen if a Castle Age Camel Rider attacked a Castle Age Cavalier. And let's just, you know what? They're both equally upgraded at 1-1. So let's just leave it at that. So we have both of them at 120 HP, 13 attack, -1 armor is 12 damage, no bonus. So 10 attacks by the Cavalier needed to kill the Camel. The Camel does 7 damage, -3 armor is 4 damage. 4 plus the 9 bonus is 13. So they need, is it 9? Yeah, they need 9, or is it 8? What's 120 divided by 13? No, that's 9. They need 9 attacks. Oh my god, so I don't even know. The answer is inconclusive. What's quicker? 10 attacks at 1.8 seconds or 9 attacks at 2 seconds? I mean, it's one less attack needed, but they do attack a tiny, like 10% slower. Oh my god. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to have to look into this and kind of satisfy myself. But wow, if somebody knows, let me know. But wow, how even are these 2 units in the Castle Age? Fantastic. In any event, it doesn't really matter. The Cavaliers just couldn't put up too much of a fight, especially once the Cavalry Archers came out and just everything was coming up. Nicov, the position of the game, the resources, the trebs, the everything. Army composition, army count, more importantly, 50 to 10. Literally 5 times the army count. And with that one wood, is it here? No, he's got a pickaxe in his hand. With that one lumberjack villager, the Viper cannot hold back the Persian tide. The tariffs do not work. The war does not play out in the Burgundians' favor, and it is Nicov the Persian who takes the W, but GG to both players.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.